Let's make sure that everybody can hear in the chat, that everything is clear in the chat. Can everybody hear in the chat? Look at the chat, Naya, and see if they're saying everything is good. It's good? All right. Okay, come on, Elijah. Somebody else introduce the audience today. Who want to do the specials? Little man, come on. Just hold it. Just hold it. Just hold it and speak into the mic. Come on, sir.
Come on. Waiting on you, loved one. Come
on. Come on, the audience is waiting. Okay, we'll pass it down to somebody that can do it.
We doing introducing ourselves?
Yeah, just introducing the class.
The whole class.
I'm Elijah. Blessed to be with the brothers tonight, and
All praise.
All praises.
Well, I know there might be some people that might have some questions in the chat. The men are here to answer any of those questions about anything, no matter how provocative some questions could be. We're here to answer anything that you might want to know about. So if you have anything, we'll start out with a question that you might have for us. Look in the chat, Naya.
You got a
question? See if they have a question. No questions?
You still passing.
No questions? We're going to move on if you ain't got no questions.
What's the most powerful part of brotherhood?
What's the most powerful part of brotherhood? One of the brothers could answer that.
I'm looking at it.
Yeah, you seeing it right now.
You're looking at it.
But who want to explain their experience with where we were before and where we are now in the remnant? Here, pass the thing.
Make sure y'all can see me. What's the most powerful part of brotherhood? See, where I came from, I try to stay away from a lot of people. I try to stay away from a lot of men, a lot of males, right? But once I got around, it first started with D right there, right? I remember one time. Well, you know what? Let's jump into it. My mom had died, and he was saying, "You know what, bro? I'm gonna come down there." I'm like, "Nah, stay where you at. I can handle this by myself." And then his words to me was, "You remember what you said?"
Remind me.
Huh? You don't remember? I was trying to think of it. He was like, "Man, you over there with family, but you shouldn't be by yourself." I'm saying, but just being around in that indoctrination or around my family, it's like I just want to get away. I'm saying, so he said, I'm saying when you're you shouldn't be alone, even though you're around family. And that right there is a quick summary of how all this is right here and right now. I'm saying just staying. It's like when you're outside of this, everything is it's just disgusting. You just want to get away from it. There's no intellectual conversation. There's no importance outside of this right here. I'm saying, because here you have that accountability. You have the information. You have the, what's the word for it? The encouragement. You have the understanding. You know what I mean? So that's the most powerful part to me.
Yeah, I was thinking, I think one of the most powerful parts of this brotherhood here for me is definitely.
Let me just, I'm sorry, Jay.
No, go ahead.
This is, I know the question was brotherhood, but this is really culture to us. It's really beyond brotherhood.
Mhm.
This is just culture to us, and it being something a lot. So explain that part.
Okay.
I don't have the mic.
Yeah, so within the culture, this is how all the men and women are. So it's not just the brotherhood, it's the people as a whole.
Mm.
You know, we all operate like this. And one of the most powerful things about us as one is the trust factor within one another, you know, because the information puts us all on one accord, will move with one mind, one spirit. So somebody outside of that, we might not be able to really trust you because we don't know how you're going to move, because we know most people in the world is governed and dictated and they worship their feelings.
Mm.
So, you know, we have a accountability to the information to put that above our feelings and still show up and operate in manhood and womanhood, so that we know that we can trust one another because we know what we're going to do.
Mm.
You know, so
Powerful. B.
And just to add on to that, the reason why we're able to trust one another is because we wanted to give our lives for the information.
Mm.
You know, in our history book, it says something to the extent that a friend is someone that will lay down their lives. So because
Yes.
we know that someone is able to lay down their lives for the information, there's that trust factor. Because I already know when I'm looking at my brother, I know he thinking the same thing, he follows the same thing. So I just wanted to add that.
All
Here,
praise.
break it down. Let me just say this. You know, in people of color community, Black, Latino, Native, it's the same thing. There is this testosterone, right? How do you get past the testosterone? How do you get past um, the feeling of I need to show up and be a man, right? And, you know, I'm not to be disrespected, I'm to be respected, and all those things that the world sells you about your idea of manhood. It's the direct opposite over here, because we don't let the system, nor when we say the indoctrination, the indoctrination is what the country have taught you. When we talk about the indoctrination, you hear us talk about that often, being indoctrinated. Well, what does that really mean? Well, that means that there's a country, America, that have ideas that they believe. They have things that they believe that they hate, things that they believe that they love, right? Things that they think that are valuable, things that they describe as not so valuable. And so if you grow up within this country, and that's every country, but I'm talking about here, right? So when you grow up in this country, you think that everything that they've taught you is right. You think that well, let me say it like this: when they took Muhammad Ali's crown from him because he wouldn't go to war, his reasoning was, them people ain't never did nothing to me, right? But the country said, we're going to strip you because you don't want to go fight for this country. And he, with his different perspective, the freedom within his mind, the original thought that he had in his mind was, them folks ain't did nothing to me. Why am I going to go to war? Well, because we think they did something. So that's indoctrination, right? When you don't have original thought, you don't have it in your mind, right and wrong, the only right and wrong you have is what they taught you. So going back to the testosterone, you have that testosterone. Every man has a measure of testosterone, but I'm using it in a way because it makes you have a reaction to somebody who looks like you. When you walk down the street, it's not, when I was growing up, peace, brother. That's what it was. It wasn't me looking at somebody that looks like me and frowning and mugging them, right? It was never that. That's what it is today. Well, they've taught you that. Why? Because they taught you that you don't have any value. So because you feel, you might not even realize that, but I'm going to break it down to you. It's something about when you feel you don't have any value, you physically become a more violent person. Listen to me. You physically, the demonstration of who you are as a person becomes more violent. That stems from the fact that you feel like you're not something important. So now you have to project a certain level of importance, right? And that projection comes with violence. they're going to respect me. Well, you got that from the indoctrination. You got that from a country that has minimized you, minimized your skin, and said that you are nothing. So now you have to exercise something to what? To try to overcome that thought about yourself, because you see it in every area of your life, right? You see it in all over America that they diminish Black people. So you feel like you're fighting an uphill battle. But you don't take it out on other people. You take it out on your own people, right? But that's indoctrination. That's one of the things that we attack the moment you come back to your culture. What we attack that everything they've taught you is not the truth, it's their truth. But you had an original way of thinking about your family, about your women, and about your brothers, and a way of thinking that's different from theirs. And that's what we begin to attack. We begin to say, listen, there's an original culture that thinks differently about value that this country thinks about. The system, this country value system is based on capitalism. Get your money. That's what it's based upon. You valuable if you got some money. One thing I realize is that when you have some money, people want to do more for you. When you don't got no money, don't nobody want to do nothing for you, because the value is based upon capitalism, right? So if you are in a culture, in a community where they have subjected you and subjected your people, right? And the majority of your people don't have access to the same wealth that is passed down through generations, because that's how wealth is transferred in this country. The majority of wealth is transferred down through generations, right? It's not the people who get wealth, right? Oh, such and such became rich and all that. Yes, there are those people that exist, but the majority of the wealth is passed from one generation to the other, and you never had access to that, right? So what we teach you in the beginning, that their idea of value is not the original idea of value that your God gave to you. And you can't beat them, giving them the power to make you feel diminished because you do not operate the way they told you you're supposed to operate. You feel diminished if you don't operate the way they tell you. This is how you become valuable. You go to this school. Oh, she brought it down because I wrote her. Bring it on, baby. You don't mind being on camera, do you? That's one of them beautiful wives. Don't hate. Congratulate. You see that smile on my face? Hold this, Eddie. Thank you, Eddie. Hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Where? Both of them. Look at them. That's right. That's right. One of them. Anybody else want to add to it? So, like my 6'6" nephew over there in the all red, I too didn't just shy away from people. I just stayed completely away from as a whole. I spent many years by myself. If it wasn't my aunt or my uncle or someone that was immediately close to me, I didn't really care less to interact like that. I was only focused on taking care of business, taking care of my family, my loved ones. That's it. The beautiful thing about this brotherhood is that no matter what indifference you have with someone, no matter what the walk of life is that somebody comes from, no matter if somebody is quiet or loud or outspoken, if they don't know what to say, even if you disagree with someone, you can always find a common ground, right, for your indifferences, because everyone operates on the same foundation of manhood, the same principles of honor, loyalty, respect, integrity, and dignity. I mean, there's things that we can laugh about and joke about with each other that will cause a fight out there in the streets, off the rip, like out the gate. And, you know, we can take that thing all the way down through there, be laughing 1 minute. There might need to be some correction in there the next minute. Apply the correction through the information, knowing that each and every single one of us has to come to that space where we're pleasing to the Most High in our life, right? And not looking outside of anything other than that right there. continuously operating in submission and obedience unceasingly. It says pray without ceasing. Well, all these men here are submitting and obedient unceasingly every day in their life to be pleasing to their God, to our God. So yeah, it's not like Unc said, it's not a brotherhood. It's just our culture. This is what we do. This is how we live. You can't make any one of us think anything different outside of this right here. It'd have to be on our own recognizances. And I mean, I just can't see it happening. So far deep into this information, eyes so wide open that to turn back now would cause shipwreck in your life. Would just cause shipwreck in your life. So the beautiful part about all this is that some come from streets, some come from different parts of the streets, some come from 9 to 5s. You know what I'm saying? Some come from a couch, you know, but everyone has stood up in here to operate in their manhood, to operate in love, right? Love covers a multitude of sins. And that's exactly what it is up in here. Nothing more, nothing less, right? What you guys might think is eccentric or extravagant is just our everyday normal around here.
Let me see something. 1, 2. Oh, that's better. Huh? 1, 2.
Which I'm surprised because they watched class a few times. Where's this information coming from, and is this our own book, or is the information biblical? And then another question was, how do you deal with that when it's coming from your daughters as they are now hitting 21? And before now, always respected you as a man and a father. You've never given them a reason to be disrespectful.
There's a couple of questions.
First
Yeah,
part,
I'm about to finish up the first one.
first one, I said that he got the right person for the first one.
Yeah, you do. Where does our information come from? It comes from the scriptures. The difference is that Christians view the scriptures as a religion, and before it became a religious doctrine to them, it was culture to us. All the way from Father Abraham, it was culture to us. And so you have to start doing the research. If you go look at what Constantine did during the Council of Nicaea in 325, when they began to change all the depictions of who you call Jesus, Yahushua, changing the black depictions of who he was and all the paintings, and depicted and start changing everything to Caucasian people, right? There was a systematic, it's like this country, and even back then, systematic means something that is carried over a long period of time throughout the whole country, systematic, right? So there was this idea that introduced white supremacy into the world, and they begin to on purpose shift and change things. What we are doing is going before the idea of Christianity, because Christians have built a religion around Jesus, and Jesus was never a Christian, right?
Nope.
So it's crazy to think about how they built this religion around somebody that don't even know what Christianity is, right? He was an Israelite. He was a Hebrew. He was not a Christian. And so why would we go to something that's secondary, Christianity, which is a religion that they built around the idea of Jesus, and Jesus did not know nothing about Christianity. So we go back to the source of our people, because we believe we are the blood descendants of Abraham. We believe in the prophecies of Deuteronomy 28 that talk about, we believe about the prophecies with Abraham in Genesis 15:13. We believe in all these prophecies, and we are the fulfillment of those prophecies, the beginning, the first fruits, what we call ourselves, of those prophecies. We are not Christians, we are Israelites. And we are not just Israelites. We are not Hebrew Israelites on the streets. That is not who we are. We are the remnant of the Israelites, right? We are not Hebrew Israelites that only believe that only black people can be saved. If you see us, you see that what we put out there is the information that God deems for all mankind. What is that information? Obedience and submission. That is what our culture is based upon. If you want to simplify everything, it's based upon obedience and submission to the Most High. And that obedience and submission is not a religion. That's something that's eternal. So everybody in here, every man, woman in here is here by their own free will because they seeing value in the culture that the Most High prophesied that he would bring us back into. We don't care who don't believe it. Whoop-de-doo. Right? We're not out there just trying to twist your arms. If you come here, you will come here because you value the information. We are not concerned about you. If you don't see the value, then we'll say sayonara, going down to the Christian church or the mosque or something. They might accommodate you over there. We're not going to twist your arm. Anybody's here is because they're here because of the value of the information. That's the difference between us and them. In our original culture, we didn't have evangelists out there on the corner trying to tell people to come be a part of us. It was people that valued us, valued the God that we had, that asked to come be a part, and they became proselytes, people that we accepted to be amongst us as long as they were underneath this obedience and submission in our culture. Well, just the way it is now. People can come as long as they're willing to be up underneath this obedience and submission in our culture, right? So we don't exclude anyone. You're going to exclude yourself. I just want you to understand, we are not Christians. You ain't going to see us out there begging you, trying to curse you out, or none of that stuff. It won't be us, right? You see that we are not, they got them Branch Davidians people, they be dressed up like Little House on the Prairie and all that. That's not who we are either. We believe that we are the head and not the tail. We don't age fast either.
Nope.
I said, we believe we the head, not the tail. You're going to see us and we're going to be beautiful, right?
10 years,
Because we
20 years.
teach, you better look like what you come to do around here, right? So it's a purpose in how we look, right? Because it's an inside-outside thing, right? That inside is saying, look like what you come to do, because our inside already looked like that and everything got to match with us. So this ain't no facade or nothing. We mean business about what we come to do for the king, right? And we don't need you. We're not into numbers. Listen, we probably have out of all of us, the remnant of the Israelite, with all of our classes, we probably got 300, 400 people at the most that come in and out, right? But here together, we might be 30, 40.
About 40 deep.
About 40 deep, right? From all over the country that have moved here to do this work in Washington, because this is where the Most High sent us to do the work. I'm only saying that to let you know we're not into numbers. When the Most High chooses to make a move to bring his people in, we'll be here waiting for you, but we ain't going looking for you. Let's just understand that. That ain't who we are. We'll be just fine. All praises. Who got it next?
Let me share something real quick, Eddie. I just want to share this real quick for Eddie go. What Uncle was saying was just making me think about 2 Samuel 7, verse 22 in the Amplified. It says, "Therefore you are great, O Lord God, for there is none like you, and there is no God besides you, according to all that we have heard with our ears. What one nation on earth is like your people, Israel, whom God went to redeem for himself as a people, and to make a name for himself, and to do great and awesome things for yourself and for your land, before your people whom you have redeemed for yourself from Egypt, from nations and their gods. You establish for yourself your people, Israel, as your people forever, and you, O Lord, have become their God. Now, O Lord God, confirm forever the word of the covenant that you have spoken in regard to your servant and his royal dynasty, and do just as you have spoken, so that your name may be magnified forever, saying, the Lord of hosts, armies, is God over Israel, and may the house, royal dynasty of your servant David be established before you. For you, for you, O Lord of hosts, God of Israel, have revealed this to your servant, saying, I will build you a house, a royal dynasty. For that reason, your servant has found courage to pray this prayer to you. Every man up here believes that. Every man up here believes and knows. Let me take that back. We're past believing. Every man up here, every woman that was up here last week, a lot of women and men sitting out there in class that can't be here with us today, believe this. That's why it says we're not on the corner dressed up, wearing fringes. Love those brothers. They got some powerful information. You know what I'm saying? But they ain't this. They ain't this. The value is way too high because we know who our God is. We're not chasing nothing down. We're not tracking nothing down. We're right here, standing firm, planted in the ground, right? Growing, roots in, head up, chest out. You know what I'm saying?
Don't forget the other question.
Eddie can answer it.
Yeah, what was the other one?
They said,
Oh, his daughter.
how do you deal with that, what you guys were talking about earlier, when it's coming from your daughter, as they are now hitting 21, and before now, always respected you as a man and father. You've never given them a reason to be disrespectful.
So now they disrespectful now, or?
That's what I'm kind of getting. Like, how do you deal with like disrespect or maybe not listening?
Because she's getting the information.
No, this is not nobody that got the information.
No, the daughter.
She don't got the information.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Oh, okay.
blood is thicker than water, but it's thicker than blood. And that she's having an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I say, you know, that is thicker than blood. So I'm just saying that, hey, I'm just saying that if they start having boyfriends or something, she grown. You supposed to have planted the seeds, and then you got to just hope, and you can't force nobody. I got daughters. I couldn't force them to do nothing when they become grown. I got to trust that the seeds that I planted is going to eventually, hopefully, make them come back. But that's all you can do. If you didn't plant them seeds, and you didn't train them up early, they ain't got nothing to come back to late.
Yeah, you can't wait till they turn 20, then all of a sudden now you want to, enforce things. My children would tell you when they were young, I threw them out to the wolves because I always looked at it as they had to go through things to get the experience. So then that way it can help them when they got older. I know a lot of women, they wait till they children turn 18 and it's, I can't wait till they get out the house, but they didn't teach them anything. So, I mean, you could be saying that you taught her this and that, but I don't know because, every parent gonna say they did this and they did that. But, they say the proof is in the pudding. So you're gonna see it when when they get older, because they're gonna carry it. Because I was gonna say earlier, also what I, installed also in my children, see everybody up here, carries their own cross. So everybody is accountable for, where they're at. So even my children growing up, they had to carry their own cross. I couldn't carry it for them. I could teach them, show them, and if they made some mistakes, they had to be able to want to listen for them to be able to get past that lesson, whatever it is. Because I used to tell my children, hey man, when you get into elementary, the kids and everybody, they got a set of rules for you when you get in elementary. The same thing when you get in middle school. Now you got to adapt to them set of rules. The same thing when you get into high school. But the only thing about it, when you under 18, my father used to always tell us, hey man, everything you learn when you under 18 is free. After you turn 18, it costs. It costs to learn how to gamble. It costs to learn how to run them streets. It costs. So, you gotta input, you gotta show hard love too, because a lot of parents, they want to They want to walk their children into adulthood, and then when their children is grown, they're calling their parents for everything. I got siblings, they call my mother for everything. And I said, nah, man, I can't be that. So, you know, you just got to sit down and have a conversation with your daughter, and you know, you got to get to know her all over again. That's all. All right. Any other questions?
No.
Okay.
Let me follow up on that. Here. Let him get that.
Oh, that's
The thing came on.
Yes, pardon us. Thank you for your patience. So yes, my name is Joseph H. Piggybacking off of Brother Eddie, I don't have children, but I do have a niece and a sister. And through my experience, I can definitely be able to relate to you in regard of what it looks like to be able to have the opportunity to reintroduce yourself. Especially if you're going to be stepping into this information because you're already listening, right? To know that a person had a position before of how they identified you, that could have been a position either or, with respect or without. But both situations that presented itself before this information, it can then change by you stepping into this information. I got a niece that's 10 years old. I love her to death. Samantha and Ebony, if y'all listening, I love you. And they are my receipt within this thing. And I got a sister that's 41, going on 42, going on 43.
she's not gonna appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying? Real talk. So, you know, to know that through experiences, she had her point of reference of who I was. And then even including with my niece, she understood who her uncle was at one point in time, right? But upon you stepping into this information and doing the work, having the accountability, having the deep conversations with the Most High on the aspects of what the salt looks like, purging that's required to be able to be appeasing and so that good aroma can cover all areas. You know what I'm saying?
Joe, raise that mic up some. They can't really hear you in the class, in the chat.
No, he good. Can you hear me?
Good, you good.
You good?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so to know that I'm showing up to my God in the way that He requires, not only desires, right? To have a point of reference of understanding when somebody is actually able to come into their, I love reference, to come into their aha click moment where they got it, where they can actually see the difference with inside you, but really what they're seeing is the new me. So regarding in your situation, with all due respect, brother, is this, Ms. Dove, is this a brother or is this a sister?
It's a brother.
It's a brother. Much respect to you, brother, no disrespect. You haven't gave your daughter at this point in time anything to believe in. True.
It sounds like you're underwater a little bit, like it needs to be turned up to your, turn it up,
Turn it up.
make it go up, because you kind of have the mic where the, where
Yeah,
that
that's
mic.
good. Yeah, that's better. That should be
Let's
good.
see.
That should be good. Yeah.
You haven't gave her a reason, as we all know. You know what I'm saying? But upon you stepping into this information and more importantly, doing the work that you're required to do so she can actually have something to step into and then start believing from your demonstration, right, is the point where then the respect comes with the territory. But the key focus that I'm noticing in what you guys said is you focused on getting the respect. Your priorities are off, baby. You know what I'm saying? The priorities got to be set to the point where, irregardless of somebody showing up or not, I got to do what I got to do. That's right. I got to handle my business. That's right. I got to be appeasing my God first. That's right. You know what I'm saying? So by you focusing on this change that's occurred, understand there's purpose behind this happening for a reason. It's a beautiful reason. But it's upon you to step into the information, but more importantly, the work that's required to be able to receive the blessing of the revelation, but the gift of the respect that you so desire. But you gotta do the work first, bro.
Hey, let me see something real quick. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Somebody was saying that this was a Kevin Samuels reunion, and I told him, this is far from a Kevin Samuels reunion.
Kevin Samuels ran from this.
Somebody quoted Kevin Samuels.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter. you're at liberty. Why you got the mic so low, bro?
Because it kind of clashed when it's loud. So it's like,
Does it?
yeah. And when you turn it up, you got that muffled sound. That's making it sound muffled.
He had that
It
mic
sounds-
turned. He had the mic over there. You'll turn it up a little bit because my mic is down here. So that's better. Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome to believe whatever you want to believe about Kevin Samuels' reunion or whatever. No problem. Carry on. I want you to understand something real quick, and we're going to start going into some personal experiences that brothers have had of where they were and where they are today. I want you to understand something. Our people have always wanted to be free, but you never knew what being free was. All right? You never really knew what being free was. Being free is, first of all, I'm going to put this out there that I'll come back and explain it. Being free is having your own culture. You can't be free if you don't got your own culture. Because if you don't have your own culture, you don't know who you are. So a lot of brothers out there, they be saying, man, I just want to be free. But your being free is what this country has told you freedom is you getting some money. When I listen to people, everything is about the power of money. You think that the only way you can get a woman is with some money. That's what you think. In the profession that I used to come from over 20 years ago, I'd call you a square. Yeah, I call you a square because you think that money is everything. Well, every man up here in this remnant understands they have something far more important than money. That's important for you to understand because truly that's freedom. Listen, some of you might know that I've been able to do what nobody has done in the country, change state law and defeat law enforcement. I bring that up as often as I can because it's a receipt and it's a testimony. No matter where I came from, out of the streets, and no matter my mom was a hoe, my dad was a pimp, I was in a lifestyle, no matter all those things never mattered. They mattered only in a system that you believe in. They only mattered if you believe everything that the system has told you to believe, because if you believe everything the system told you to believe, you would have never attempted to do what I did. You wouldn't have felt you were qualified.
Been defeated off the
But
rip.
see, in our culture, right? In our culture, that one that makes you free that I'm talking about, there are different things that qualify. Defeated our people, neutralized our people, stomped on our people, imprisoned our people, and nobody could do nothing about it but me. How is it that me coming from them conditions could do something about it? Because when they looked at me, they said, man, the man come from a hoe and a prostitute. He was in the streets, been to federal prison. They laughed at me when I came up here to fight for my little brother, Shay Taylor, because the police killed him, executed him. And I said, you got the wrong one and the right one, all in the same line. I came all the way from LA with this freedom information that I'm telling you about from this culture. I came with the stuff. I mean, it was a movie. I think it was, oh man, and this one great actor, but he said, you got the stuff. I forget his name. I came with the stuff up here. The stuff. Clarence, what is his name? I love that actor.
Tales from the Hood.
Yeah, Tales from the Hood. Yeah, I came with the stuff. The stuff they never gave credence to. The stuff they laughed at. But the stuff that my God honored. And he says, don't worry about what they think about you, because they're going to point the finger at you. They're going to say, he was this, he did that. But son, I gave you the stuff. So in the face of all of the criticism from your own people and from theirs too, go show them the stuff I gave you, and I will submit them before you. The reason why I'm doing this because there's a people out there that you got to reach, and they need to know that there's some stuff that can overcome this system stuff, because we've never seen the system overcome. We've had W.E.B. Du Bois. We've had Malcolm. We've had Martin Luther King. We've had the Nation of Islam. We've had the Black. We've had so many attempts, but they just didn't have the stuff. See, it doesn't matter how clever we've been, what education we've gotten, our organizing, how great our organizing was through the Black Panthers. It doesn't matter because it's never did anything about this enemy that keeps us submitted. You wonder why all these men are up here, because these is free men that got the stuff. See, I've lived in a mansion. I've had plenty of money. And what we call it, like a shelter, I've lived in the cave too. And in either one of those situations, I was the same man, because that's what the stuff gives you. It gives you balance. It makes you look at everything they told you, makes you valuable as nothing. That make men. The only kind of men you're made out of is the man. The only way you can be a man, well, we looked them in the face and told them a word when we used to cuss.
Give them their stuff back.
Give them their stuff back, but we used to use a different word, right? You can't give them their stuff back because you ain't got nothing to run to. So you hold on tight to their stuff, tighter than they hold on.
Yeah, you got
That's
their
why
stuff.
you ain't free, and you can never be free. I always used to say, your greatest desire is to grow up to be a white man. All you Negroes out there, your greatest desire, if I can just grow up and be a white man. You ain't got the stuff, brother. You ain't got the stuff. That's the truth. All these little churches and all these little places, you know, strong leadership creates strong men and women. You know what they've done to your churches and all? Oh, they've emasculated you. I'm talking about the churches, yeah. They emasculated you. More, listen, and I'm going to break this down. Listen. There is such a movement that has captured this country, that have captured the church, that people feel like it's supposed to be the place to go to God. And it has become a cesspit of homosexuality.
Mm.
Raping our little boys, these Catholic churches too. A cesspit that is promoted. So much so that manliness, a man being a man. Like, you a bad person if you a man. And ain't none of y'all did anything about it because you ain't got the stuff. But we doing something about it. We saying we give you that back. We'll come to our own culture. Because we need men more than ever now. And that's what we raising up men that's accountable.
What they call it?
That's not gonna be deceitful. That's not gonna be underhanded. That's not gonna lie. Because their first commitment is to their God, to their culture. See, that's what happens when you wake the eyes up of somebody and let them know, do you know you had a different way of thinking? Do you know you got a culture that belongs to you? And when they begin to seek it out, and they begin to be like, wow, I never really knew. You can't give them back their stuff if you don't have anything of your own. Come on. See, we have our own, which is why we say we're not out there trying to convince you to come be a part of us. The scripture says, my sheep know my voice, and another they will not follow. One thing about this remnant, if you see us, it'll make you feel uncomfortable. It'll make you feel like, I don't know if I can go up around, be around that over there. Because there's some accountability. Men hold each other accountable here. Right? And see that ego and that testosterone that you have out there because you ain't got no stuff, it makes you react because you look small and you feel small. These men feel great and they can take correction. I'm talking. You can't take no correction because you feel small. Don't you know the scripture says iron sharpens iron? Right? Well, you getting sharp. You ain't getting sharp. You getting angry. You getting angry. Because
Emotional,
you don't got
all
the
that.
stuff. I used to talk when I used to counsel people. Sometimes I still do. Don't call me because it's $500 an hour. I'm not playing. That's right. White people been calling me more than you cats. But anyway, one thing they want is the information. They don't care nothing about paying for it. You know, you don't care nothing about paying for no Jordans, do you? They want to pay for information because you ain't got the stuff. That's what happens. Yeah. So I would tell people, I would say, listen, man, I was like, you want to lead a household, right? You want a woman to respect you. This is for the dude that says this is a Kevin Samuels reunion. Kevin Samuels won no smoke from me when he was alive. I tried to give him, go on his platform. He knows who I am. He didn't want this smoke. This has nothing to do with Kevin Samuels because Kevin Samuels blamed women. That's unmanly. You wasn't man enough. That's why you blame women. I ain't never seen nobody blame women more than black men. It's a shame. You ain't man enough. You don't see no other coaches out there blaming their women because they know it's a shame to do so. It take a man to take responsibility for his role. God has given you the role to govern, but you want to cry because the woman is not doing this. Yeah, because you ain't doing nothing because you ain't got the stuff. So I would tell people, listen, you want, and I'm gonna because I got the brothers fired up now. They'll be ready after this. Right. You want to be a leader and you want a woman to follow you. But every time a situation happens, you break down more than her.
Jockeying for sympathy.
You break down more than her, right? So she ain't got no leadership to come to say, well, what are we going to do? She should never have to come ask you that in the first place. You need to let her know, don't worry about none of it. I'm going to have it taken care of. You can't say that because you don't have the stuff. Right. All you can think about is what white people have told you. Their system has told you that makes you empowered. I need some money. So because that's all you think that makes you be able to lead your home and your household is the money, and you don't got no money. When a situation happens, you don't got nothing to tell her. One thing I tell my wife or wives, oh, y'all didn't know? You know now.
When you finish, somebody want to know,
well, you can come.
What is the purpose of having multiple wives in a remnant?
Go ask Abraham that. Go ask David that. Go ask all the patriarchs in the history book, in the Bible, the same thing. God is not so concerned about the woman that you have. He's worried about your commitment to him. He'll give you a woman. He wasn't mad at Solomon about all them females he had. He was upset that because he told Solomon, don't go over to mess with them worldly women. If you want a woman, have an Israelite. Don't go messing with worldly women, women that don't believe in the information, women that got other cults and gods and things of that. And Solomon did not do what God said, and the same thing that God said would happen to him happened to him, where his heart was changed. See, what you believe as something that is normal, it's very new to the world. Go do your research. We talked about this in the class before. The Roman Church started the idea of monogamy, and it happened over hundreds of years. When you go do your research, you will find out the reason they started monogamy was to consolidate power. It's always been that way with these white folks. They'll create a law just to consolidate power. You know, the charge that I got called the Mann Act when I was in the streets, that's what they charged me with, the Mann Act. Transportation of a person cross state lines for immoral purposes. You know how white people created that? For the first black heavyweight champion, Jack Johnson. Because back then, Jack Johnson was flaunting his white woman in their faces, and he was dark-skinned, tall, beating up everybody, and they wanted to find a way to get him. So they created a law just for him. So they said, because back then you wasn't supposed to be messing with a white woman, and in certain places, he took that white woman cross state lines simply from one state to another. And they created a law for Jack Johnson. That's how it was created. Go do your research. Right? So many of you out there are feeling like just because white folks created the law, God is up there saying that, okay, I agree. Everything white folks uncreated, God ain't agreed with. Can I tell you a secret? Shh, come close. God is not an American. You black folks have got so caught up. You got no backbone. You're scared. They done humbled you. They done submitted you. They got your butt in check. You are docile. This is the only thing that ain't docile in this whole country. Because we got our own. We got the stuff. Did you think when I came up here, when they killed my brother, you think I came up here not being the king that God made me to be? I came up here. Go do your research. Submitted this whole state underneath me. Even Trump called me. Went on Fox News. The New Yorker wanted to interview me. They're wondering, how can this guy, in which our system think is nothing, how could he have defeated our system? You think these brothers is up here because they ain't seen no receipts? Come on. Don't you know that our people require a sign? For you out there, brother, that talked about Kevin Samuels, one of the main reasons why I didn't agree with that brother, he might have said a few little things, but his words didn't match his life, and his life didn't match his words.
Nope.
He never even had a successful relationship. I've been in a marriage 27 years. You can't say nothing to me. You black folks are so docile. All you need is a preacher to sound good, be a good orator. You don't expect nothing more from him. What about his life? What is he living in his life? What has he done for his community? Somebody asked me, what have you done? Yeah, that's what I say. Bring your words to the table. We'll bring our work to the table. Ain't nobody done anything for the community when it comes down to the police killing our people. But I set the precedent for the rest of the nation of how you beat these people. Right. And all you can say, he used to be a pimp. That's all you can say. Right. I did that 6 years of my life, 7 years of my life. I've been married 27 years.
So is it just lust that you have two wives? Because the same person is asking the same question.
Is it a woman or a man?
It's a man.
Is it lust? Let's analyze lust. Do you think lust is a bad thing? But hold on, let me talk to him. Bruh or sister, do you think lust is a bad thing? You go look up the definition of lust, right? And then when you have the definition of lust, you can come have a conversation with me.
Lust is a very strong sexual desire.
Lust is a very strong sexual desire. Bro, if you got a woman, do you got a strong sexual desire for her? Well, you lusting. Are you a bad guy? I would hope anybody that I'm interested in that I have a strong sexual desire for. Right. Because I'm a man. That's right. So let's just get that out the way. No. It wasn't because I lusted. It's because the Most High blessed me with the desires of my heart. Right. You see, when you got the stuff, that's what he does. See, but as long as you keep getting wrapped up in what white folks have sold you, what the system has sold you, you can never be free. All you can do is try to throw darts. But you know what? I'm unconcerned. Listen, I had the whole country come up against me. If you know my case said, andreltaylor, a.k.a. Gorgeous Dre, against the United States of America. I've had the greatest pressure placed upon me. You couldn't walk 1,000 miles in my moccasins and be up underneath that pressure. When they hired me as street czar, the amount of worldwide pressure, Fox News, the Daily Mail from Europe, from all over this country, pressured because of the lifestyle that I came up, and I stood because I got the stuff. I never stopped talking. In American Pimp, I didn't stop talking. And I was in jail, but I was still talking. I sound the same today. And I can guarantee you, I still look good too while you're playing. I'm still popping out too, right? I can guarantee you that every enemy and foe that has rose against me has been conquered or underneath my feet. And all I'm doing now with the receipts, because I'm not having a verbal conversation with you when you ain't got no receipts. You're not even equipped to be in a conversation with me. You got to bring something that you've achieved. You got to bring something that you did. Unless you can bring something that you did and that you've achieved, you're not on the same playing field as I am. You're a person that's just sitting on the sidelines cheerleading for your enemy. Who's ready to go on these people? Come on, Cavassier. Yeah. We ain't Christians. We'll come for you. Come on, pop out on them. We don't mind. Come on, pop out. Come on, pop out on them. Yeah, come on, pop out on them. Cause they think we some Christians or something around here.
I know me. My name is Cavassier Giles. I'm gonna start with this scripture. I'm just gonna go off of what my loved one, my baby just got done popping out with the freedom, right? That's what I want to get into. This is Philippians 2:5-7. Amplified Bible. Have this same attitude in yourselves, which was in Yahushua. Look to him as your example and selfless humility, who, although he existed in the form and unchanged essence of the Most High, as one with him possessing the fullness of all the divine attributes, the entire nature of deity, did not regard equality with God a thing to be grasped or asserted, as if he did not already possess it or was afraid of losing it, but emptied himself without renouncing or diminishing his deity, but only temporarily giving up the outward expression of divine equality in his rightful dignity by assuming the form of a bondservant and being made in the likeness of men. This ain't what I'm looking for. My bad.
Let me come on.
Right, the Holy Ghost, get it out on them, though. Get it out on them. Okay, I'll finish real quick. By assuming the form of a bondservant and being made in the likeness of men, he became completely human, but was without sin, being fully God and fully man. Oh no, that's not what I'm looking for. My bad.
Go get it then.
What was that one?
Made himself of no reputation.
What was it? What was the scripture?
Oh, this is that I'm reading. This is
He made himself with no reputation. That's what you want.
That's what I want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go get it.
It's not Philippians 2:6.
Is that?
Philippians 2:7.
Yep, 2:7.
Christ, when you truly got not trying to remain equal with God. Philippians 2:6.
Okay, look, I don't know exactly, but it's all good.
It's 2:7.
I can get
2:7
to
to Philippians 2:7.
I looked at that.
What translation you looking
That's
at?
amplified. I'm looking at. That's probably why.
Uh-huh.
Is that KJV? King James version.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah, just get it real quick and just.
You got it, D? Thank you. All right there. Okay. So let this mind be in you, which was also in Yahushua, who being
Right here. Yep. Go ahead.
where's that at?
That's 5 right there. 7.
Who being in the form of the Most High, thought it not robbery to be equal with the Most High, but made himself of no reputation.
There we go.
There it is, man. There
There
you
you
go.
go.
There you go. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So I'm talking and having a conversation with the Most High the other day, and just going over some interactions and some conversations, right? And one of the reasons he explains why I have the capacity to operate the way that I can operate with the freedom that Dre was just talking about is because I care not about having a reputation with nobody.
Talk about it.
Right? I care not to have a reputation with nobody outside of the Most High God. Right?
Come on.
So when a difference kicks in, when a disagreement enter the conversation or enter into our relationship, I'm gonna line up with the Most High.
Come on, man.
That's it. That's all. If you oppose that, cool. Me and you gonna be in separate spaces. Conflict ain't nothing new to me. So we can be on separate sides. We can be on separate sides. You hear me? I'm okay with all the smoke. That's all good. You have a disagreement, you don't like me about the way that I align myself with the Most High, you just gonna have to feel that, right? That's my disposition towards anything opposing what the Most High has developed me to operate in, right? So when he's talking to me about this, I'm just looking at the way I move, the way I navigate, whether I love all the Remnant.
Put your mic on. Put your mic on. So we could hear you clearly.
Don't beat your chest again, man.
Beat it up high.
Nah, that was the problem.
I love all my loved ones, right? But that would never hinder me or interfere with my ability or my assignment to operate the way that the Most High God expects me to operate, right? So that me not caring to have a reputation, me not elevating, having a reputation with man or anybody on this earth above the Most High grants me that freedom, right? I'm not finna put what you, listen, if what you expect of me conflicts with what the Most High expects of me, it's finna be some conflict in, right? If your idea of something conflicts with the Most High's idea of it, it's finna be some conflict, right? If there is, see, the reason why it can't dictate me is because my focus is what the Most High God expects of me. So when somebody comes with something outside of what I know He expects of me, right? I have no issue bumping heads with that. Hey, well, then it is what it is, right? Because I'm gonna make sure I'm in line with the Most High, right? So,
But let me say this. Let me just say this. Because this is what we do when we're gonna give you guys a whole feeling of how we do when we get together on Saturdays. I want to challenge that. I want to challenge that, and I want to say that I don't think that it's going to be conflict.
right,
I think that it's going to be disagreement.
that's right,
I think it's going to be disagreement,
that's right,
but not conflict.
that's right.
What do you think about that?
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when a man's ways are pleasing,
Well, no, it's just that we don't want to enter into a space that there's room for quote unquote conflict. That we don't got conflict in the remnant,
Right.
but we got disagreement. That's
right.
natural.
That's right.
Conflict
That's right.
within the remnant is not natural.
That's right. But it will be some conflict with the square.
Yes, indeed. Amen. Amen.
With no problem.
Right.
But, yeah, so I'm really just wanting to illustrate the way, the reason why I'm not bound to what the indoctrination is bound to, right? Is because my focus is on having a reputation with my God, right? My focus is on making sure I'm pleasing unto Him, right? So as long as I'm in that space, right, I care not about anything else, anything that gets offended by that, right? You're just gonna have to be offended, right? And when the Most High come make something known to me, like, hey man, yeah, that no, right? I'm gonna check me and I'm gonna take accountability for where I erred at. I have no problem taking accountability for my wrong, right?
So if we're gonna be real, does anybody got a different opinion about that? Is there a different
I thought you had conflict with the squares out there. You want some smoke?
No, is there a difference of opinion on his perception of that? Let's get these people how we get
I'll
out.
tell y'all one time me and D,
we had a class and can I talk about it?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we had a class and I called D, said, yeah, D, let's be honest with you. The enemy making me not like you. I said, hey, I think but what's funny is because recently
Hold on. Yeah, tell them that part.
What's funny because recently D called me.
Last week. No, I came and sat down next to you when the ladies was talking.
While we had a class, I got to tell you something. I said, he said, remember that thing you told me about the enemy making you not like me? He tried to do it to me. But the beauty of it, right? Because regardless of whatever feeling I may have had or whatever I have to battle, whatever I got to keep submitting, the same thing for my baby, for my loved one, right? We don't we don't allow no feelings to dictate our movement towards our brothers, right? Our God dictates our movements towards our brothers. You out of bounds, you're going to get called out on it, right? And we have an expectation of how we're supposed to be operating and navigating our relationships with one another, right? And we all aware and conscious of what it looked like when you ain't operating in that.
We're going to put you in a circle.
And we're going to let you know, that right there, bro, you out of bounds for sliding like that. That wasn't it, right? That wasn't the way you were supposed to deal with that or handle that, or that wasn't how you were supposed to get down with your brother. Right?
That's another thing to make the culture. That's why I'm glad you said that, because when I was talking earlier, that's another part of what makes the culture so strong is the transparency.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
The honesty and the transparency in there. I mean, the loved one just said that will put you in a circle.
That's right.
And this is true. It's happened many times.
That's right.
But the manhood is so strong and the transparency and accountability is so strong that these men come and say, hey, man, I got to put myself in the circle.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? It don't even be no circle.
That's
But
right.
they'll come step up and tell you in a heartbeat, you know what, man, I got to get this rebuke.
That's right.
I got to get this rebuke from my loved ones.
And we give the
Nothing's
audience,
hidden.
and we give the audience, the people who will be looking at this later, some real life situations that we've had. I know we've had some in Hawaii. I know we just need to get the people down. No, we go through some real stuff.
Yeah, we had
how we work it out though.
we didn't have situation. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah. But you guys, I mean, if you want to get up, you guys can get up and you know.
Let's see why you're up there. Good evening. I'm the main girl.
Let's take them out the pocket, man. You're messing up the flyness of the suit, man. Okay, come on, Rain.
Couple words that was mentioned. Love, transparency, brotherhood. Most of you know I'm the only child, right? So transparency for me, to be able to come and share many things that I've experienced with the brothers is just beautiful, right? A lot of times when you confess yourself to somebody in the streets, they go back and take your business. Right? And here, I trust everybody with my life. You know what I'm saying? I can share interpersonal things, which brings me to this, right? Just recently, well, let me say this. Most of you know my story of abstinence, right? It's been 19 months, 577 days.
You women out there.
For all the ladies.
No marijuana about 3 years, no alcohol about 13 months, you know, and I come from smoking a lot of marijuana, doing a lot of drinking, doing a lot of other kind of drugs as well, right? So to be able to share that, you know, and not having judgment, right, but to be embraced by my loved ones, right, and then be able to even share this with women that's watching right now. I share my story with, I think, Joe and Mello last weekend. So you want to move your mic up a little bit?
said they can hear you.
That you thorough, he's talking so soft and stuff.
Better?
Yeah.
All right.
Hear the mic, sir.
Yeah, I share my story with Joe and Mello. So
Okay.
every now and again,
Jay.
I have to journey, trail, get this burning desire to have a woman. Discover that's called lust, right? And when I have this urge, the enemy will put something in my way. You know, to look good, to even seem right, right? And be on a PG version, right? I was faced with a situation, right? And I stood my ground, right? And me and this particular woman, we went our separate ways. And while I had this burning desire, I was trying to substitute it with eating a lot of food, right? Which is gluttony, right? I had an appetite for sex, I had a big appetite for food, right? And understanding that the Most High sees gluttony as a sin, and it's 7 things that He hates, right? So I'm out of pocket. And, you know, going through this process, 2 things happened that I explained to Joe and Mello.
Wait, they said the mic not clear.
And you probably don't need the mic because some people voice.
That's better? Y'all hear me? Check, check. That's better? All right. Oh, that was my train of thought. Yeah, it's 2 things that happen, right? Either when I meet a woman and I begin to give her the information, she's either gonna run from me or she's gonna jump in my arms, right? This particular woman chose to jump in my arms. Y'all catch that on the way home. It put me in a sticky situation, right? And I had to face the music, right? Scripture says, come to me all who are weary and I will give you rest, right? She just needed some rest. You know, I had the recipe, but I couldn't give it to her, right? So I stood my ground, you know what I'm saying? And my phone, please. Got some scripture in here for y'all. And yeah, right. So after me and this woman parted ways, I still had this burning desire. It wasn't going away. So I'm in conversation with the Most High, like, you know, I'm substituting food for my sexual desire and it's not working. You know, getting fat, bloated, not feeling good, just not feeling good, right? So Holy Spirit told me, offer your flesh so that you can draw near to me. So I went on a fast. And within 24 hours, the desire to have a woman was gone. The appetite for food was gone, right? But something that was strange, my second day of fasting, I shared this with the brothers as well. And I don't know if you said this one time, Dre, but a couple weekends ago, I think it was like, it feels like we're not even here. Like we just moving, right? So the second day of my fast, I'm sitting down on the couch, get off work early, and I'm like touching my arms. But I could feel like physically, but my spirit was somewhere else, man. And hyperdimensional, right? I could see this some deep stuff, right? So just bear with me. I could see like my spirit elevating up to the Most High, and He's pouring information to me, pouring knowledge. I can see this, right? And I get this heaviness, and I go to sleep. All right. Next day, same thing. Get off work early, sitting on the couch, same position. Same thing happens, right? Touching myself, not like that.
you know, trying to feel right because it just don't seem right. And again, my spirit leaves, right? And again, the Most High is giving me information, giving me new knowledge, right? And what I could see is it was renewed strength, renewed power, right? So I go through my fast, and just the next couple of days, just felt like I wasn't here. Like my spirit was just somewhere else, right? So um, coming out of my fast, this is what I discovered, right? Fasting under submission and obedience creates the space and a proper way for the Most High to enter into my life, right? And me drawing near to Him is something that He desires in us, right? Scripture says that the Most High made man for His pleasure. So He was pleased to come take my mind up with Him and have a conversation, God talk, right? Which is what I like to say. And He gave me a couple of scriptures along the way. Isaiah 40:3 Amplified, right? And it says, a voice of one is calling out, my voice, right? It was calling out to the Most High. Clear the way for the Lord in the wilderness. Remove the obstacles, right? So there was belief, um, no faith, uh, lack of discipline, anything that the enemy would have tried to put over me, right? I removed it, and the Most High removed it, right, in a spiritual way. Um, Scripture continues, make straight and smooth. Make straight and smooth in the desert a highway for our God, right? You guys know that you could put a highway in the desert, you know, and it could be a smooth transition for the Most High to enter your life, right? Um, and what we understand being under submission and obedience gives you access to the spiritual realm, right? This is not um, something that we take lightly. You know, this is very serious business going on. This is daily battles and spiritual warfare constantly. You know, this is, if I say mention conflict, yeah, there's a lot of times we're continually in conflict with ourselves. You know, so it has nothing to do with nothing else but um, right? Yeah, you know, it's a battle with the enemy, but like I said one time that the Holy Spirit let me know you don't always have to fight with the enemy. And then Dre came back and said, but the fight is with yourself, right? And he gave me a couple more scriptures as always, right? 2 Corinthians 6, verse 7, Amplified. And it says, in speaking the word of truth, the word of God is truth. From what we know, manhood, you need to operate in truth, honesty, respect, dignity, with honor, right? With power and authority, but with responsibility, right? So as I move and groove through the world, I operate in truth, right? And the spirit realm has to obey when a man operates in his truth, right? Um, right? Scripture continues, in the power of God, by the weapons of righteousness, right? You guys know that righteousness came with weapons. For the right hand, like holding the sword to attack, and for the left, holding the shield to defend. So as men, we walk around with righteousness bearing arms, right? Armored up fully with the sword, chop your head off, and the shield to defend any kind of attacks you guys come with, right? Heavy stuff. Um, one more scripture he gave me, and we had a class a couple weekends ago, and a couple Mondays ago, and Dre mentioned this Isaiah 40:29-31, Amplified, right? And this is what it says. He gives strength to the weary. I mentioned earlier that this particular woman was weary and she needed rest. You know, the Most High is funny, right? And he's ironic, but I was the one that needed some rest, right? I was the one that was weary from all this fighting, battling, tempting, and testosterone that Dre mentioned, right? I needed to be sat down. And yeah, he gives strength to the weary, and to him who has no might, he increases power. I said, when the Most High took my spirit, he gave me a renewed power, right? Even youths grow weary and tired and vigorous. Young men stumble badly, but those who wait for the Lord, who expect, look for, and hope in him will gain new strength. I said the Most High gave me a renewed strength, right? And renew their power. He gave me renewed power, right? They will lift up their wings and rise up close to God like eagles. I'm the fly guy, right? So I was in the spirit realm, rubbing shoulders with the Most High, right? And they will run and not become weary, right? They will walk and not grow tired. We understand that it's an endurance race. I've been in the Remnant 22 months, and I've been running this race, and I've been coming in first since I got here, right? And just, yeah, y'all caught that. Just to be able to share my stories with you guys, be able to get certain things off of me and be able to help somebody who may be struggling with lust, greed, sex, drugs. You can look at me and see that it's doable, right? Not only is it doable, it develops a cleanness in you, develops discipline, right? Maturity. And you understand what it's like to value yourself more as a man and not just feel the need to release and give yourself to every woman that looks good, right? And the enemy will play on that the more you succumb to your feelings, your emotions, and your vices, right? So I am, as I said before, a declaration of the Most High's promises. You know.
Yeah, over here, baby. Elijah and Nas, come up. 1, 2. Hey, right here.
Bespoke, baby.
These are my 2 nephews right here. My nephew here is his birthday today. You see, he popped out. They take care of all the camera and the light and everything, and they came all the way from Detroit.
That's right.
To be here. I just want them to share what that was like, because when we talk about it, right, I want people to understand, yes, they moved from Detroit down here to Seattle to do this work with their uncle. Tell the people what was that like, because they might not believe that y'all really did that.
Okay. So my experience, right? What was it? We got the word that the conferences was gonna start, or the Wednesday meetings would start March 5th. When I got that word, everybody was on the court. We already knew off the rip we was coming. You know, there was no question about it. We say we Remnant, we know this is not just a ministry, this is an operation. So part of that operation is doing what the Most High said and making that move. Now, as we was approaching, now we had different stories, right? As we was approaching March 5th, you know, we was making adjustments. You know, Elijah, Naya, my father, they was able to make the jump off the rip. Me, my story was a little different. You know, I have a property investment back home, and even though I was willing to leave it all behind, like I did, it was, you know, I had some thoughts of a little trepidation, right, of making sure everything was in order. That was a little bit of that indoctrination, trying to slip in and trying to have everything in order of, you know, 1, 2, 3. You know, the Most High don't move like that. The Remnant, we don't operate like that. We just jump out of faith, right? And so it took a little time for me to get some things in order. Not too long, about a month and a half. And leading up to that, I was doing an expediting business. So I was driving trucks. And the week before I moved, I drove probably about 72 hours to make that jump. I dropped what I had to run to Alabama for my last load, come back to Michigan, drop the van off in Houston. Then I came back to Michigan. Then me and my sister, we loaded up the car and we drove out here to Seattle. That was about 32 hours. It drive me and my sister, right? And when I came out to Seattle, I was on my last check. It was a lot of expenses I had to do during the process of me, leaving the job behind and everything. So my money was a little funny. By the time I got out here to Seattle, it was just straight faith and his last check. But it was no problem though. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing in my mind like, oh, how I'm gonna make it work, how I'm gonna pay the bills. I already knew, just like the scriptures declare, that the Most High will make all crooked roads straight. And so it was just a pleasure of being able. It feels so amazing just to be able to see him, and rely on him to make those crooked roads straight, and just seeing how he was coming about that. I think I was running out of my last check, right? It's about like 3 weeks in, running out of my last check, and I had bills coming up because I still had to pay. I still had to, manage my home back in Detroit, and I was also building my foundation here in Seattle. So all these bills is adding up, and I'm knowing I'm not gonna have the money to cover everything if I was thinking with the, with the world's mind of how things was looking. But I was just expecting the Most High, right? And so I remember one day I'm up at K&G because one thing I'm gonna stay fly, right? So I'm going to pick up one of my suits from the tailor, and something just made me, check my account. I checked the account. It was about extra like 1,500 in there. You know what I'm saying? That I was not expecting. But I ended up getting a phone call after that, right? And it was from the guy who I was leasing the van from. And because I was operating in such excellence in that job, which is expected in our, culture, this guy wanted to bless me. And before, when I went out to Houston to talk to him, he was telling me how everything wasn't lined up the way he wanted it to be as far as his finances. So for him to send me that blessing, knowing that he still needed that, that spoke volumes about the excellence in the way I operate within was my expectations, from the Most High. And yeah, so that was just one receipt. And I'm just, saying, looking for the rest, looking for more, you know what I'm saying? That was just, that was a piece of, that the process of coming out here, right? And I just want to say this right quick, right? Because I'm thinking of something. Shout out to my mom and my little sister. They're in the crowd right now, right? We way past the talking stage when it comes to this remnant. It's not a ministry, it's an operation. And, we don't go out trying to pull people into this culture. Our best way of pulling people in is our demonstration, and they see it, and, that's what draws them. So about last week, I had the pleasure of being able to fly out to Michigan and bring my mom out here, not because I was trying to convince her or, I talk so good. She was compelled to come out here because of the way we demonstrate. So I had the pleasure of, going to bring her out here. She's in the crowd now. This week, I was able to go back to Detroit and bring my little sister out here because of the demonstration, not because of the, because of the demonstration. And I'm sure my mom don't mind me speaking about this, right? But even when I made the jump to Seattle, I left behind, like I say, my job. I left behind family, friends, and I also left behind a big, expense, which was my home, right? That was supposed to, be a property investment. And when I came out here, okay, so the week me and Tori loaded up the car and drove out here, my mom's man passed away, as she spoke on last Wednesday. And I was able to give her my home to stay in, what I'm saying? So she could move right in and it could be smooth transition. She didn't have to feel any pressure. And one thing that we say in the remnant, Cavassier put the staple on it. He say, each one of us are a nation. You know, Dre put an extra twist on it. He said, if your life is your land, how are you governing over that? Right. So when I had my mom over at the investment property, you know, it wasn't making any money, and that was fine. You know what I'm saying? I never really put any pressure on her. I allowed her to stay in there and be comfortable. So now that was what, like 5 months? For 5 months, you know, I'm trusting the Most High, and he showed up, and I was able to allow her to stay rent free there while still building my foundation here. You know what I'm saying? So my experience here, and mind you, I'm a guy who come from the mindset and the indoctrination of I gotta have my money right. Everything gotta be in order. The credit gotta be in order. The move gotta make sense. And just the receipt of how that's been stripped out of me and our culture has been replenished inside of me is that I'm able to walk even when things don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to walk through that in the darkness, knowing that it will work out. And that's exactly what happened. You know what I'm saying? So, hey man, I'm gonna pass the mic to my brother. You know, that's my experience.
Oh, y'all hear me good? I was chilling in the back. Oh, yeah, man. I guess, I mean, my experience out here it's been a lot of work, I would say. Man, like, it's funny because I always move with like a sense of abandonment. You know, I had that, you know, I can't even remember when I really developed that sense of just giving, you know. So when my transition was, because I also got, you know, I was seeing the increase in certain moves I was making, you know, moving, just being with the Most High was wanting me to be. Because my bad, y'all. Hold on, I'm trying to put my thoughts together. Yeah, but so basically, before I left here too, I also got a promotion. You know, I became a manager at my spot. You know, and same thing, man. Just operating in excellence. I mean, customer service. Like, I'm the best person to come to when it comes to that, because, you know, I'm just a gentleman with everything. So I would want to say right before, I always talk to Dre about this though, but like after the Atlanta trip, and mind you, we didn't know anything about Seattle coming through, but I started getting these voices from them. I started hearing the Most High speaking to me, you know. And one of the things he told me, I haven't really shared with the Remnant, I'm going to today, was that you will be unto Dre as Jonathan was to David. That initial thing right there already let me know it had to be like a fire developed, and no matter what it is, you don't got time to think. As far as me, like, my life is completely faith. So even when I pull from the scripture of Elijah, when I say that's what I'm after, you know, a life completely built off faith. I don't know what's gonna happen next. You know what I'm saying? I don't. I just came out here, and like you said, a production crew. Hey, what you need? That, you know, that it was there. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Just give me that task. Okay, give me that task. You know, I got to shout out to D, because, you know, when we first came here, he gave us a beautiful spot to stay at. You know, and I was fortunate for that. But even the fire and just doing all I can to help him, you know, keep everything afloat over there. It was just always like a faith thing. So Seattle was just, I haven't really experienced it yet, like I can say, man. I mean, of course, the family, the remnant, but my mind is driven towards work. You know what I'm saying? And I'm proud of it. Of course, you know, hey man, I don't work to be seen, but I like to be seen working. That's my title. So whenever I'm coming in, but it's not only for me to
Hold on, because he just scrolled right past something. It wasn't just a faith thing that he did, right? Because although I might have helped with a spot, that same spot I needed some help with. In the very moment I needed help, he stepped up without hesitation. In the complete totality of the help that I needed, said, man, I'll take care of it. Without hesitation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure it was his last at the time. So I don't want to skate right past that, because it's faith, but there's also a man in there too.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that level.
Oh yeah, no problem, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I want to expound on that too. And the whole abandonment aspect I was talking about earlier, like I like that was my whole check. Like the family haven't even moved out here yet, but you know, that was just my life. You know what I'm saying? So just moving in that space, I mean, Seattle was a no-brainer. It's like, I mean, for that appearance to come from me, you would be unto Dre as Jonathan was to David. I'm already knowing, okay, like this is where you have to be, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so I would say that, you know, and then you got soft spoken started up, so y'all gonna definitely hear a lot more concrete conversations, you know, and that's a part. Thank you. That's a part of the faith aspect, you know what I'm saying? Because that's just what it is. That's just how I talk to my God. That's how I know he's gonna show up, because I'm consistent. It's not always about me. I'm a selfless individual, you know what I'm saying? But I'm thinking like, okay, I want to do something, you know. Okay, I'm gonna add this in, but I was talking to my brother earlier, which I think all the brothers should have a perspective on. But I remember I was reading through Genesis, and the Most High was breaking down Isaac. And you know, you can look at a person and be like, man, that person is distinguished. You know, he's a distinguished figure. But in the AMP version, they said Isaac was extremely distinguished. So it amplified his disposition or whatever. However he was moving, he said extremely. You know, we pay attention to words, you know. So that was, when I read that, it always just stuck with me, man. Like, you know, so that's the reason why I say it's work right now, because I'm working to extremely distinct. Of course, I'm in a remnant, of course, but that's saying that was still a remnant, you know what I'm saying? But the work behind it. So, you know, that's more so my experience been. But of course, man, it's just been beautiful, man. And just, you know, that's all I gotta say, man. Yeah.
All praise to the Most High. You hear me? Powerful testimony by my brothers Elijah and Nas. It hit a chord in me. And Unc said something when he was up here. He touched on money. The history book, as we say, says the love of money is the root of all evil. And I know that's why I've been delaying my full move to Seattle. So I live about 3 hours away, across the mountains in a city called Wenatchee. Got a job, you know, in an attempt to move up here, and that kind of became a stumbling block for my full transition up here, because that's three hours away. You know, I got to make that drive. Just waiting for everything to be perfect. That's not how the Most High moves. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, how can I do this? 1 + 1 + 2 +, you know, trying to calculate everything and trying to make sure everything's perfect. And I'm delaying my progression. I'm delaying my walk with God in the process. So, you know, just the preoccupation with money and jobs, and you know, I need to worry about how I'm gonna leave this job. You know, you know, is it gonna be a good transition? And you know, just the preoccupation with money can throw your whole walk off. That indoctrination. So I think that's something I really well, I keep saying I think. I know that's the reason that I've been held up, you know, with my walk. So, you know,
So we should
yeah.
expect you down here pretty soon. Yeah. Come on.
Hey, accountability. It's out there to the world now. So yeah, we about to get that rolling. So yeah, just wanted to give that testimony, and you know, just be accountable to my brothers, because I look at everybody just giving a testimony and how y'all move, and it's just different, you know. As he says, the church, they move in a certain type of way, but you don't see that with the remnant. Like if you would come here and actually see how this operation moves, you'll
immediately see how different it is. So that's pretty much all I got to say.
It's just different seeing this thing in person than watching from behind the screen. Go ahead, nephew.
So I wanted to talk about how the enemy will try to attack you in various of ways. So the enemy will try to use like the world to attack you a lot because like they get offended very easily and stuff, and they can get mad and stuff easily too. So like we could talk to like somebody in the world, and they can get offended to what we like tell them and talk to them about, and start calling us names and stuff like that. And that's and we know that's like the enemy trying to use them to attack us. And we know that if we step out of bounds, like if we step out of bounds and like one of the remnant brothers or sisters are there, we gonna get checked because we know better, and that's not representing the remnant or the Most High. And that's the enemy getting to you and stuff, and getting you, making you step out of bounds. And in those situations, we know that we're supposed to be the bigger person and remove ourselves from that situation, because if not, yeah, the Most High gonna get us. Poor day.
Not slide on square.
Yes.
Say what you got to say, man. Say what you want to say. Say what you want to say. Your dad slide.
And if we don't remove ourselves from the situation, then you're part of the world. You ain't ruining it. Yeah, that's all I want. Yeah, that's it.
And I'll say, he said, if you don't remove yourself from a situation, use a square.
Thank you, family.
Let's go,
Yeah,
baby.
man. Okay.
Come on, Fire Red.
Okay. All right. So coming into the information is something that Dre has always said to us. He says, I knew I could never stand up for something. I knew I could never become my own man until I could stand up for something that my father didn't believe in, right? And just a side note on that right quick. If your father is in this information, you should be listening to him and applying this information. You should be doing that, right? But I have been noticing a continuous thing, with my own father, right? And the scripture says to honor thy parents and your days shall be long. But immediately after that, it says, fathers, do not provoke your children to exasperation. Let me read it because I got it right here. Yeah, Ephesians 6:4. Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger. Do not exasperate them to the point of resentment with demands that are trivial or unreasonable or humiliating or abusive, right? And I noticed a continuous pattern. I made my jump, and it was things being said. It was things being said to me by my parents when I came out here, and I'm here now, you know what I'm saying? And it's like a continuation of trying to shift my mind or something like that, right? Like there's gonna be some change or something, like there's gonna be some compromise, like I'm gonna go back home or something like that, right? Like something gonna change, you know what I'm saying? And what one morning I woke up to a TikTok, from my father, right? And I responded to him. I looked at it and it was a little TikTok about like talking about this stuff, talking about God and God isn't this and God isn't that, right? And I responded to him. I didn't react. That's what we do in information, you know what I'm saying? And I told him, I was like, what made you share this with me, right? And immediately, he gave me a call and would just started going off about how, religion ain't this and religion ain't that. And I had to tell him, hey man, I ain't religious either. This is culture. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no religious stuff, and just talking about, well, you up there with that suit on, this suit this and suit that. You got a suit on, just put so much emphasis on the suits, right? And I'm like, man, hold on, that's just, this we are what I noticed in it, because I want to expose the enemy today, right? Seriously. And my father is not the enemy, I love my father. But my father, he was incarcerated since I was the age of 1. And didn't get out till I was 21, right? So what the enemy has done to our black men that have been incarcerated, it is a mind that the enemy has distilled in them, right? And has them stuck inside of. And I just noticed, the whole thing about the suits is just what it was so much emphasis put on suits in particular, right? For real. You know what I'm saying? And the spirit in that is, when you going up to this judge and you getting sentenced your time, it's a prosecutor there, right? He's wearing a suit. The judge also wearing a suit, why they is about to sentence you to do this time. And so the enemy has instilled this spirit in the males that have been incarcerated, and just this whole thing of a disposition towards suits. It's an uncomfortability. It's a spirit, and it's something that they feel like they can never do. They can never be a part of. But the reason why we wearing suits is because we just looking like what we come to do. You know what I'm saying? We we just looking like what we come to do. And what we coming to do is be more than conquerors, you know what I'm saying? And we here to conquer their greatest achievements. You know what I'm saying? So, that's all it is, man. That's all I wanted to say.
Here you go. Here you go.
So I wanted to talk about the idea of freedom. The idea of freedom, right? So I'm gonna talk about my move to Seattle and stuff like that, and how I gained this freedom, and what it took to gain this freedom, because it comes with giving up everything, what you might consider everything. So this is a little bit after Miami, because I just came from Miami, and when you're around your brothers and stuff, you and especially when the Most High is moving, he adds more power and more strength to your life. So for Miami, when I came after Miami, I had a little bit more strength. And so I think a little bit after that, Dre made a announcement about the word of you would hold Wednesday night meetings, and they were going to be real big. So that was the word, right? I was blessed to even see that, and I was like, okay, my move is going to be Seattle, right? Initially, it was greatness that said, I'm gonna move to Seattle, right? And then I was like, let me follow that, because because iron sharpens iron, and so I was like, let me go and follow that. So that was in my mind, right? Now I didn't know. I knew some challenges were gonna come, but I didn't know what kind of challenges, right? People. Some of my brothers was talking about finances and things like that. One of them was my health. Leading up to that point, there was more difficulties with my asthma. In moving out and doing the job or whatever. And then another one was family members that don't believe. And in our history book, it says that your greatest enemies will be those of your own household. It's not that they're the enemy, as Key was saying, is that the enemy, they don't know the principalities that are governed over them. And so when they operate like that, they're operating in deception, not knowing that they're trying to hinder what the Most High has set up as the word. But my mind is the word. I'm not moving or shaken by any of that, right? So let me try to get back to the story. Hold up. Oh, the health. So, but the family came first, though. The health came later. But because because at one point I reverenced my father. I would listen to him. I would do what he says. I might have not always agree with him or anything like that, but I listen to him and do what he says, right? So the biggest challenge was my father at that point. It was if he were to say something that might sway me away, I would listen to him, because when it came to this information, that's when we initially bump heads, like severely, because I wanted to stand in this regardless of if it takes my life or not. So leading up to that point, me and him had tensions that I didn't even want to address him about me even moving to Seattle. I didn't even want to discuss it. I was about to be out of there. I wouldn't even have told him anything. But the Most High is like, he made a situation happen where he came to me one day and was like, when you gonna go to the Air Force? Because I was thinking about joining the Air Force. And he says, no, I'm not gonna do that no more. I'm about to go to Seattle. I said, how you gonna get up out of nowhere, out of the blue, just to go to Seattle out of the blue? I was like, he was like, it gotta be a cult. I was like, okay. I was like, this is what we doing, okay. Cause I could feel it, cause my heart started beating. So I was like, okay, this is definitely a challenge, right? This is the inconvenience that the Most High is talking about when he says, when he brings up your faith. And initially I'm not gonna sugarcoat nothing. I was already like on go. I was like, listen, I was about to start arguing with him, because you're not gonna tell me that the culture that I'm getting my freedom from is a cult. So I had to back up, and I'd be like, I'm sorry you feel that way, Dad. I agree with you. I mean, I disagree with you, but I'm pursuing this to the end. I'm pursuing this for an eternity. But that was the first challenge. When that happened, I really knew, because there was other family members that experienced that same thing about the cult. So it was like, and even as we move forward, as people keep coming out to Seattle, that's one of the key things. So I was like, at least me looking at it now, but back then I already knew that I had to definitely make the move to Seattle. Not that it was gonna stop. So the Most High was like, let me add some more stuff. He added my health now. Now it creeped up on me. And trying to break it down. Right. So as time went on, I'm working, and I'm starting to feel my asthma as I walk, I couldn't breathe. Like it's exerting me to walk. Like I couldn't even do nothing, let alone try to get on a plane and get over here where people are trying to give me the fear. See, that's another thing that people try to give you in the indoctrination, whoever it might be. Try to give you the fear, like you don't have enough money. or you can't do that because you can't do this because this is gonna happen and da 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 da. And I'm like, okay, that's one of the things my mother told me. Is like, you can't get on the plane because your asthma. Asthma got so worse, I had to go to the hospital. I couldn't go nowhere. I had to go to I at least had to go to the hospital, let them figure it out, and see if I could still go. But regardless of whether it was gonna happen, I was still gonna go. So I was in the hospital for like a week, a little less than a week before the March 5th, and I'm just in the bed, I'm just like tossing and turning a little bit because I'm like, I'm waiting for the Lord to move because my intent is to get to Seattle. And then one day I woke up and I was like, Lord, even if you do not deliver, I know you can deliver me. I know you're capable of delivering me, but even if you don't, I'm not gonna bow to the asthma. So I'm still gonna find my way to go to Seattle. If I get on the plane and I pair it, it is what it is. So it's like, so a couple days go by. I even asked the doctor because my mother was like, just ask the doctor to see if you're gonna go. I was like, I'm gonna ask him for you, but me, I'm ready. I don't even care what he says. So my mother, I go to the doctor. He says I'm cleared to go or whatever. Whether it was really set to go or not, I was still on my way to Seattle. As I'm walking, I'm slightly better, but I'm still like couldn't go. Like I'm carrying the bags by myself. I'm missing a crucial part here because the part that I'm missing too was while I was in the hospital bed, me and Jay linked up. Me and Jay linked up over text because we initially was we had a room in Miami. So during the time I was in the hospital bed, whatever money I had left, and this is why I know the Most High is real because of my presence here today. So he had little things here set in place, like he had me have a tax refund. And so I was like, okay, good, I can use that to get whatever I need to get. And the whole time leading up to even as I'm still pushing forward, the enemy will play on you like, okay, you're gonna be in Seattle with no job, you're gonna have no house, you're gonna be on the street with the homeless. You see how these crackheads are in New York, you're gonna be over there, you're gonna be over there in Seattle like looking dusty. What's on now stuff? But he was like, that's how he was playing with me, like, but like just playing with the fear. But see, all that fear that you're trying to give me is the Most High didn't give me that. So that's an indicator for me to be like, that's the indicator for me to be like, I really gotta go. So me and Jay linked up, and I'm in the bed trying to talk to him about the hospital bed, trying to link the Airbnb we about to be in to go to Seattle and everything. And I only mention that because that's just part of the story of how the Most High moves. You might have wanted to move there by yourself, but he allowed a situation for your brother that also believed to move forward with him, right? That you ain't by yourself in this thing. You got your brothers with you, and they believe with you too. So I ain't done yet. Hold up. All right, so now we got the room. The day is approaching. It gets around the day before to go. I get to the plane. We gonna keep it all the way 100. So I'm in the thing because now I'm fighting like, oh man, I hope my ass don't start tripping on this plane or nothing. I'm sitting there in the bed. The chair, and I'm just cramped up in the thing, and I'm like, man, I'm feeling it a little bit. The plane wobbling. I'm thinking, it's just, but I'm still pressing forward, right? Regardless of those things, right? I get off the plane, and I'm not gonna forget this at all. it was Cavassier and Jay that picked me up in the Tahoe. And as soon as I got there, whatever little feeling of my asthma just went away. It's like he put breath back in my lungs. And so, and he gave me the strength to keep moving forward and all that, right? And because of that situation that happened, it gives me the confidence and the boldness of knowing that as long as I push forward with the Most High's word, nothing can happen to me. So we say we put out the Dre put out the sentence of death, and he would say that if anything ever to come against the remnant as far as the indoctrination, then their entire family would perish, right? And it's not to say that we want you to perish or anything like that. It's just we understand that. And I was chopping it with the Most High one time, and I was saying, but you put that out there because at some point or another, someone might try something. Not that I'm looking for it or anything, but if it do happens, we know, and I already know that you're gonna show up in that way. If anything, it's gonna embolden me even more. So, and I just wanted to say for people that might have knew me out there before I got to Seattle or whatever, you see me now with the confidence and the command and the authority, and it should give witness if you was ever next to me that that you ever knew me. It should give you the incentive to think, because you knew if you cause I know who I'm talking to. And if you knew me, you knew I was timid, you knew I was shy. For the family, for the people, my relatives back home, you knew that I was a scared young man. So not a polite or scared young man, because of the fear that the indoctrinated planted on me, as well as they planted on you. So if you see me today, it should give you witness to be like, what is he on? Just like when I saw Dre and he defeated them people, it was like, hey, what are you on? And so now I can conquer that. I can conquer the things inside of my life. And so what the relief doctrine has done, it gives me the relief knowing that there's no enemy that can stand before me, or no situation or circumstance that can ever come against the remnant. And all that to say that if you're watching, just get into classes and absorb your culture, so you knew how to be the conqueror that you really are. That's it.
Come on, B!
Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on. Hey, man. That was it. Yeah. I just want to say one thing before my loved one go. Right? I pressed this part of the information so much because it's the foundation of what got me here. Right? The manhood. The manhood, the womanhood for the women, but for the men, the manhood. Right? I pressed this so much because, and just to be clear, everyone here is in a whole different. Let's just say everyone here is in a whole different realm. You know, really an eternity away from where the world is at right now, stuck in the indoctrination. That's what it seems like, right? Looking back. And the reason I press this so much, I remember I was talking to my son Uriel. I remember I was talking to his mother when we first met, probably about 18, 19 years ago. And she was telling me about, oh, we're the original Israelites and all that stuff. And she was doing a Bible study with her cousin and her cousin's husband. And she kept telling me about this. And I remember I just told her, I said, I don't want to hear about that no more. Like, don't talk to me about being an Israelite no more, none of that. And she's like, well, I thought you knew that this is who we are. I said, I do. I said, but until you understand the basic fundamental principles of manhood and womanhood, until you understand the those 5 principles that honor, loyalty, respect, integrity, and dignity, and they're not just a hashtag to you, right? It's just not a drop line to you. None of that even matters. See, what Brandon just stood up here and spoke about, and what every other man has stood up here and spoke about, what every woman stood up here and spoke about last week, it takes that fortified man or that fortified woman inside of you operating in this information, because who cares what you know, right? Who cares how great your words are, right? Who cares what you have? If you can't operate the same in a situation that you feel like you need everything, or the situation you feel like you have everything, if you're not even kill across the board, you just ain't no man, and you ain't been taught properly in your life, right? You ain't been taught. All of these men up here have been refined in the fire. They've been tested. They've been tried. It's true. This thing is consistent. It works. It has no delay, right? In showing you who you are in your original culture, right? There's a quote out there. Some say it came from Mark Twain. Some say it came from Nelson Mandela is very famous for using the quote, right? It's courage is not the absence of fear, but it's your ability to overcome fear, right? It's your ability to overcome the fear. So even though Brandon might have had some trepidation in his tongue, which I'm sure a lot of loved ones did, hey, when you're doing something new, it should be a little bit in there. It's all right, right? But stand up as a man or as a woman and overcome and conquer that thing, right? Get past them feelings and emotions, right? That fear, and stand up and operate, because that's what it's going to take for you to be pleasing to your God. That's what it's going to take for you to show up the way that he required you to show up, and not the way that you feel like you show up to your God, not the way that these Christian churches then taught you is okay to show up in the little minuscule miser mindset they done taught you to show up to the Most High. He has prerequisites about his love. He does, right? You don't get to dictate what that looks like. He put the standard down. We're here to fulfill it with every drop of blood in our body.
Right. Real quick. Go ahead. Quick second.
You have to say it in here.
Okay. Yeah, just real quick, Logan. I'm sorry. To all the it's gonna be quick. Just to everybody watching too, you may look at Dre and say, you could look at Dre and say, look at his life and say, oh, that's just luck. That happened one time. But what you gonna say when you look at the whole remnant and that thing, and you see it happening 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It ain't luck. Something being duplicated. And that's the culture. Get busy. Yeah. All praises to the Most High. Let me throw this on you.
Cool. What's up, sir? What's up, family? My name is Chris. They call me Steadfast.
Please believe. Steadfast on them, man.
I heard a couple terms used in the meeting tonight. It was my brother Brandon and my brother D said something about doors, or Brandon said, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said there is no other love like one who puts his life on this line for his friends. That was along the lines of that? Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. And my brother D said, everybody here comes from different walks of life, different doors. So I just so happened to come from all those doors. You know what I'm saying? Just about every subculture of the indoctrination you could find. I was in the gang banging, I was the dope dealing, the hustling, and I was on the other side as well. I was the addict. So I've lived a lot of different lives. To put your life on the line for your friend never changed. That was a deep attribute that the Most High, I guess, didn't want me to leave behind. But I say that to say, you looking at an individual that was at one point in time in his life so sold out to what he believed in, as far as his hood and all of that, to the point to where my initiation was, after you fight, however many you gonna fight, you gonna sit here and we gonna heat up this steel real quick and we gonna brand you. You know what I'm saying? So you're looking at an individual that actually went through that. If I was to peel up out of my clothes, I have these scars. You know what I'm saying? These worldly indoctrinated scars. And I did believe, and I was the dude that was gonna press the issue if it came down to it. You know what I'm saying? So what is it about an individual like that? What is it about the remnant that could take an individual like that? You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? What's that you said earlier? You said we got this stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. But yeah, I was just going. I wasn't gonna dive too much into my jump, but my jump as well came with challenges. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them, and I'm kind of waiting to transition out of some of them to dig deeper into them. But I faced all the trials and all of that as well. You know what I'm saying? I left everything. I walked in abandonment, just like my brother Elijah said. You know what I'm saying? Was it easy? And this is a heavily indoctrinated man. You know what I'm saying? So, no, it wasn't. It wasn't easy. But once you figure it out, it can't be that hard. He finna come up here in a minute anyway. Come on. And I left a lot of things, man. I left this one right here, man. This you know what I mean? And Miha, both of y'all come up here. Can you see her on the camera? Where's Everly at? I left these two too. Well, really walked in abandonment, not left. But yeah, man, and what's up, man? You good? Look, don't talk all of it to the microphone. But yeah, man, look at where this was about what 6 months ago? Man, look, this their second time out here. And you know, you would think, yeah, 7 months. You would think that an individual like that, don't do that. You know, all the harsh things they could say, you know. I lost a brother, I lost a grandson, you know, you just gonna leave your family like that, blah, 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 blah. All of that, you know what I'm saying? They right here. You know what I'm saying? And not only them, but more importantly, their mother, she was one of the main ones. What you gonna do? You gonna go be a pimp like Dre? You know what I'm saying? She right here. I ain't gonna put you on blast like that though. Come here, hold on, baby. Do you remember what we talked about? That's right. She said she home. Look. You remember what we talked about? You remember what we talked about? Yes, you do. What are we here to do? Say it louder. That's right. That's right. All praise to the Most High, man. Who up next? Yeah, I'm gone.
No. You still going? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, loved one. Let me know. Let me know when y'all done.
All right, man. I got a few things I wanted to try to tie together. So Holy Ghost, I'm gonna need you on this one, right? So I'm just thinking about everybody's coming up here with they testimony about the jump. You know, we've talked about this a few times. And one thing that I didn't mention within my jump, I was speaking to my sister, her newly husband, and they was just checking on me, trying to see what was going on with me. I'm like, yeah, I'm finna go out here in Seattle. No, they didn't understand. I couldn't, you know, explain it to them right there at the time. But I just remembered they were asking me like, you ain't got no job or nothing. You just going out there, like they looking at me like it's crazy, right? And I know that's the enemy though, trying to get me to second guess and think these things in my mind. But what I had to do was what the scripture says, what our history book says, what our culture book says. I like Dove said that the other night. I like that. Right. What I had to do in 2 Corinthians 10:5 told me to cast down those imaginations that they were trying to give to me, and every high thing that exalts itself against this information. So what I had to do was, never mind that. Had to continue to move on faith. And like I said before, I never done anything that required such an amount of faith, like making a jump like this, right? Because where was I going with that part? Oh, well, I'm gonna say this. One of the things that I loved and that attracted me so much about this information was there's not an inkling of victimhood in it. And that always repelled me when I was just like looking at the world, like especially like let's say around like 2016, like when Trump was running for president, right? And just everybody was scared. Everybody was just looking weak, and it just was so repellent, man. And since then I was just been looking for things that was strong and masculine, and it was just so much of the opposite of what I was seeing from the black, I don't want to say community, they're not really a community, but the black people, I was seeing so much weakness from that. So, everywhere that I was seeking information from led me to be here. I've always listened to Dre for over like 10 years, but I was telling somebody recently that the time wasn't right. The seed was planted, but the time wasn't right. The Most High didn't give the increase yet for me to finally to open up my understanding for me to believe. But now this the time that when we came out here to Washington on March, maybe like 2 days before I came out here, right? I was at like an engagement party back in Detroit. And I had a little drink there. I've been I've been drinking probably the majority of my life. It's never been like a big thing, but there's never been no time that I haven't, I turned down a drink basically, right? So, but since that, what was that, March 2nd? But since that March, I haven't had any alcohol. Since I came out here, I haven't had any alcohol. I haven't had the taste for no alcohol. And a relative of mine called me recently. He was he asked me, he said, have you had anything to drink? I'm like, no, why? And I'm like, I ain't had nothing to drink since I left. That was like March. And it was the response. It was like, he said, that's crazy. And like we say, that's crazy for a lot of stuff. Like, yeah, oh man, that's crazy. Right. But the way he said it though, it sat on me. It was like the way he said it was like heartbreaking. Like, man, that's crazy to you. Because I know that he hasn't let go of the world. And that's crazy to him that I have. But I understand though, man. And the world is, it's got a lot of our people in its grips, and that's just because they choose not to believe. I was talking to this kid that was in the same real estate stuff that I was into a while ago. And he was on the internet, and you just get to see people how the world, how they react when they don't get what they want in the world, right? It's like when you feel some type of depression or any type of just that feeling of it's because it's something that you want that you don't have, right? It's that feeling of lack. And I guess whatever industry he's in now, he's doing some trading or whatever. I guess it ain't working out for him because he's depressed. You know, he got on Facebook and said something like about killing himself. And he was just saying, trying to see would anybody care. And I just happened to see it. And I responded to it. I said, I care, loved one. I would. So I told him to send me his number. So we got on the phone, we got to chopping it up, and you know, he was telling me that he was diagnosed with like bipolar, schizophrenia, something like that. And I was just trying to relay to him the information that I have about how the enemy would try to come and get you to define yourself, you know, through those thoughts in your head, you know. And that's where I believe a lot of mental illness comes from, you know. And you know, he was receptive to it. You know, he was a little bit skeptical though about the culture book. And so I went in. I know some people don't really read or get to understand what's in the culture, what's in the history book. So I said, let me send them a class. So I sent them like a class, and I sent him a class, and he said what he said was he said something like, "Oh, you ain't tell me, bro. He used to be a pimp." Squares, right? But you know, and I'm like, yeah, but he's been married for 27 years though, like, and like, what that got to do with anything? You know, oh, but he was doing music a couple years ago. You know, it's just things like that that let me know that the enemy's job is working. Like, he's blinding the minds of the people who choose not to believe. And that's what separates those people who are over there isolated and those people who are over here set apart. We believe. We believe. You know, and I just had to let them know that you know, hey, it's just might not be for you, man. We only here for the remnant, man. You know, but I know that's what religion does to a lot of young males coming up out of those areas, you know, especially if you being raised with like a single mother who's heavy into religion and Christianity, because she is taking her information of what she believes a man is through Christianity and trying to impart it on a young male. And then he has to, you know, deal with that. You know, she doesn't know how to deal with a young man who's coming into knowing himself. You know, that's what I had to go through. I had to deal with a mother who was like that, who didn't know how to deal with a young man who was coming into know.
What's Eddie always say?
What's that?
What side of Detroit you from?
West side.
The west side.
Yeah.
And so, as it stands true, like I
Mhm.
said, for every man up in here coming from their home city,
right.
their home state, the west side ain't seen nothing like this right here.
Come on.
Yeah, this ain't the man that left
Come
the
on.
west side of Detroit at all.
No, sir, not at all. And yeah, you know, religion will a lot of times it just teach you to shame things, just shame things. That's the sin, that's the sin, that's the sin. And by doing that, you know, I love my mother, but you know, because I know that she did the best that she could with the information that she had. You know, so there's no ill will and none of that, you know, because nothing was intentional, you know, but, you know, that's still something I had to deal with. You know, I still had to learn how to be transparent with this information. You know, it's easy, you know, but when you growing up like that, it makes you want to hide away from your parent and hide and not be truthful with them, not be transparent with them. And then that bleeds over into your relationships, and now you're lying to your woman. You're doing things deceitfully. So but with this information, it's different though, man. You could be transparent and feel good about somebody. You can walk away. They can walk away from that if you're transparent. It's like, okay, I still did my part. I still showed up to my guy how I was supposed to. And that's a beautiful thing, man. And yeah, about those, like back to the guy who was looking at Dre like, yeah, oh man, he was a pimp. But like I was saying, it was just little things like that. It's like you could be anything in the street except a pimp, and like just something like that, so small can offset your promotion in life, all because you looking at this person and what the country has taught you is worse than another thing coming up out of the same environment. Like, okay, he's a drug dealer, he's a killer, he's this, but oh, he's a pimp. Nah, I can't do that. But it's crazy. But that's just how the enemy works, and that's when you haven't gave them back their stuff and took on your own culture, took on your own. The relief doctrine is here for you. Ain't nothing that you can bring to us that's exotic. There's nothing that you've went through that nobody here has not went through. So that's all I want to say for the night, though, man. All praises. Yeah. Who else? Come on.
My loved one was just made me think about something, and I was saying this earlier about the transparency here. I spoke about my son Uriel, his mother, quite a few times. I made quite a few references to her in a few classes and stuff. We were together for 15 years at one point, and then we had separated for 2.5 years. And we, I have 3 kids, right? And I have an older daughter that's older than Uriel, and I have a younger son that's a few months younger than Uriel. And they have a different mom, right? And I rarely speak about her. And just for full transparency, just so we're not trying to make everything seem like everything is great and beautiful, we don't have the best relationship, right? It just moved on my heart to speak about this when he was talking about moms. Um, we're going through some things right now with court systems, right? About our kids. And one thing I can say is I might not like it. It might not be a comfortable situation to deal with, but I do have love for and I do appreciate this woman because she gave me 2 of the greatest blessings in my life. I understand that everything that she's dealing with in her life, from past situations between us and our relationship, things I've done wrong, things that she's clung onto in the world that the world has indoctrinated her to believe, and not just her, but a lot of our Black women out there, a lot of them, right? I'm not even mad at her because I know, right, just like the Most High has a perfect work, the enemy has a perfect work too. He's got a perfect work in his indoctrination and the seeds that he has sown, but it only happened, this was only allowed to happen because of our ancestors' disobedience, right? And again, that's why I emphasize the manhood. That's why I emphasize the womanhood, because what it takes now to stand this thing and knowing what disobedience brought us through, had given everything that we have in our life to give, to never allow that to happen to the future generations to come, because we are here to write the blueprint and set the example for an eternity, right? To be able to lay this thing down. I'm not surprised, right? He said that's how the enemy works. That's how the Most High work too, though, right? The Most High work and to make this thing unappealing to those who don't believe. And if all it takes is a label, If that's all it, if you're looking for something to not believe, if you're looking for a reason, you're gonna find it, right? If you're looking. So if a label, my uncle being an ex-pimp, whatever the case may be, is enough to deter you away from your culture, to detour you away from your strength, your promises, like loved one said, so be it. You know, I'm sure you hear Unc say it plenty of times and other ones in the remnant. Whoop-de-doo, right? We love you, you know what I'm saying? But have fun out there in the world, right? Have fun out there in the world. And there ain't no sweat off our back, right? We still love. We still operate with love. It doesn't matter whether you disagree or don't believe or you don't accept anything. We're not on that, you know what I'm saying? If you're against us, you know, it's war against you. We got too many things to war against, like Kabasier says, pertaining to the enemy and the principalities that we have to fight against in the world every day. It's too. This is spiritual warfare, right? We out here spreading what the Most High has poured into us into the world, just as He said that we would. We're the salt of the earth. That's what we're here to do, you know. So everything's not always perfect. It's not supposed to be, right? And if you want things to be perfect, if you want it to be perfect, understand that this information is what line things up, right? It lines them up into the order of perfection, right? It says that all things work together. That means good and bad work together for the greater good of those who believe. Do you believe? Or are you tied to your indoctrination? Are you getting whooped? Are you getting wore out every single day? Crying, complaining, the woman did this, the woman did that. She took my kids, she made, she wouldn't make me a sandwich and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Is that what is ruling your world, right? Is it the money? Is it that I can woo her with the things I have? Is that what rules your world? Is that your God? Right? Because we only serve one master. We only serve one God. Y'all can talk all that mess you want to all day about a shoulda, coulda, woulda, like Eddie say. You know what I'm saying? Like Eddie, about a shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? But when that hammer drop, right? When that hammer drop, what kind of man are you? Right? What kind of woman are you? How do you stand right there in the test, in the moment? Not oh yeah, I fell 1,000 times in the same area, but I kept getting up, right? I kept getting up in the same area. Come on. You know what I'm saying? A couple times here and there, we get it. We get it. But at some point, you have to man up and woman up and stand up, because the only way out is straight through.
Love you, baby. Love you.
You're good, man. So good, man. I see you gonna put this thing together. So, yeah, come on, baby.
All praises, man. My name is Rob. Those who don't know, Rob Outlaw out there on the chats. So I'm gonna give it to you like I've been getting these downloads from my loved ones while we've been up here. So I'm gonna request that my brothers that are free come back up here for a moment. Just my brothers that's free, come back up here for a moment. I got something I want to touch on. My brothers that are free, that are not eating, just come back up here for a moment.
All y'all should be walking up here unless you're still
Sitting down. What you need, man?
Sitting down, standing up, whatever y'all want to do. Come on. Come on. Let's go. So, come on, man. So for a long time, my definition since I joined the Remnant of being big has changed drastically. So I said again, since I joined the Remnant, my definition for being big has changed drastically. You know, to me, before joining the Remnant, being big used to mean securing that real estate deal, you know, so you can go on to enjoying yourself and get financial freedom. Being big used to mean being on the scene, being outside in the club 3-4 times a week, enjoying yourself popping it, thinking you're having your way with the world. Being big used to mean to me talking to all the women you want to, collecting them, and throwing them away whenever you felt the need. Because that's what the indoctrination used to teach me. Not only that, man, being big used to say that, you know, if you secure this money, you secure these cars, this land, these deals, you ain't never got to worry about anything. Travel the world, all that, right? So fast forward to where we are now today, through the Sultan, through what Dre was touching on when you see freedom and what that looks like, you looking at it. Now some of y'all, come on. Now some of y'all might not understand what I'm saying to you, how can this be freedom right now? I'm gonna explain it to you. Through that refinement, through the jump, coming to Seattle to do this work when you heard that word from the Most High. That's freedom. Because what it gave me, what it gave us, as you can see, it gave me the understanding that not just what the world taught me is for me to value, it's more about what God has for me. And I want to say through that refinement, what I discovered through that salting, that dumping of the salt over and continuously, like my loved one Joe say, ugh, dump that salt on you, man. Thorough. What's been shown to me is just that what really is understood, what's being big is you taking this jump and taking these leaps to be with your God. Being big is you bringing your family here to Seattle and showing that demonstration that you've been through in your life, it ain't big enough to stop you. Abandon it all. Being big is not making money your God.
Come on, man.
Being big is toppling systems when they don't even know how to deal with you. Police, all that. I can go on. Being big is Jay up here just popping it, telling his story about how he went through his life. Being big is Corday knowing this information at this age, popping it. Being big is Nas over here moving, leaving things behind, his property. What he thought was valuable to him to make this jump and sacrifice, not sacrifice, abandon it all. Being big is the transparency that Thorough shows each and every time he gets up here without even a staggering look at all. Ain't no staggering in the step whatsoever. I can go on. Being big is what you see here today. That's what this thing means to me. And also, I want you to understand, because some of y'all might not really know what that broken, come before the Most High wants you to come from before him broken. You might not understand what that really means, because I had to really get an understanding in depth of myself. And you know what was given to me is that the reason the Most High wants you to come before him broken is, the reason the Most High wants you to come here broken is because whatever is in those ashes that he wants you to rise up out of, he has something greater than you could ever expect for him. Come on, man. And you know that refinement is continuous and it takes place every day, and it's for a purpose of, like I said, I like to think you're going to bear bigger and better fruit. And there's a scripture that I want to go to real quick that backs that up. John 15:2. Any branch in me that does not bear fruit, it stops bearing, he cuts away, trims off and takes away, and he cleanses. So everything that you've seen today, those past selves, through these demonstrations of each and every one of us up here, for me, that looks like perfection. We on that way up there. If we ain't there yet, we getting there. So every time that he trims away something that's not of that, through that salting, it's to get that impurity up out of you. That's right. So I'm telling you out there, if you feel the need or you feel like there's some trepidation where you don't want to do this or you don't understand, you got to lean on your faith. If you hear that word, come on. Come home. You hear that word. And lastly, I'm gonna leave it at this, man. What's really transformed for me is that understanding, since we've been over here, that these are all men and women that are after God's own heart. So if you about that, come and get this love, man. Come home. That's all I gotta say, man. Closing out.
Closing out,
That's
baby.
it.
That's right.
Again, you can find us. You can find us 5 days a week, man. Monday and on Friday, YouTube, 7 p.m. Tuesday, Instagram, same time. Wednesday, we right here. And Thursday, OnlyFans. I'm telling you, get in this information. As you can see, we prove we have the receipts over here. As Dre said, this is freedom. Once again, come get your freedom. It's waiting on you. Come take it. All praises.
Love you.
Don't come
Have a good one.
Hey,
Have
man,
a good one, man.
I'm on E, baby. Come on.
That's right. That's right. We done?